pick something you really love, as in the music you want to learn from, so that you can stick with it, and try and pick their most basic, simple songs first of all, you know, like. And like, if you've got a wide variety of musical tastes, try and pick the simpler genres. Like, I mean, I liked Hendrix, which was very complex, and I won't go into how I learnt that pretty quickly, but Hendrix is basically based in blues music, and blues music fundamentally is quite simple. It's got at its heart a pentatonic scale, which means 5-note scale, which you can add a few notes to make it the blues scale officially, right? But, which can be played in either major or minor keys. And in both of those formats, you only need to learn 3 chords. I mean, I can show you if you want, right? So, like, if you've heard, what's that one called? Well, I don't know, like, if you're doing a blues in E, right, you use E7, and then A7, and around about sometimes you use B7, right? They are quite hard chords to learn, but once you've got those 3 chords, you've got those 3 chords, and you can do a lot of songs. And then the scale would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the pentatonic scale. And then it repeats. Sorry there. And yeah, and you don't need to worry about learning it everywhere at first. You just learn a few of the 5 notes where, so there's 5. So that repeats. You can do it here like or I mean, that's complicated shit, but well, it's not complicated, but it's more complex than just 5 notes. Do it, you know. But what I'm saying is, all that is 5 notes that you can learn. Right, now that sounds like quite a complicated thing to play, don't it? But it's 3 chords, 5 notes, and that's it. All you've got to deal with is getting your fingers strong and coordinated, building up the skin on the end of your fingers so you can putting your fingers on the metal strings, which is quite painful at first, and getting a sense of rhythm. Like, even if at first you're just going, the idea is keep this hand going with a steady rhythm that counts the beat off, and then you can learn like. But if you want to know how that's related to Jimi Hendrix, I mean, the same thing, the same scale. Right, now imagine if you know all the notes to that, you've learnt for a little while, right, and then you'd get. And you can be like, that's the E chord, the first chord I showed you. You know, and then, what is it? No, there. And it's like, well, I stand up next to a mountain, something like that, innit? Chop it down with a drum. But this is acoustic guitar. I mean, imagine if I was on electric, it's a bit easier. But that is the same rules, 5 notes. And in that case, it's not but he uses that shape, changes it up a bit, so then, and then he's added a few things here. So, you know this bit like, all the pieces of make an island, huh? Might even bring a little sound. Cause I'm a... Yeah, I'd read a chord book, get a few chord ideas, because they're quite complex. But as for scales, like, once you know this pattern, then you can just use your ear and add the other notes in with your ear, and you don't even need to know what the scale's called, or if it sounds happy, it's obviously kind of a major thing, and if it sounds sad, it's a minor thing. So like, so if I play that E minor pentatonic, starting on the G, it becomes G major pentatonic. Well, that's like a happier one, isn't it? Look, if you listen, that sounds happy. And then this sad version is, that's the same notes, but when you start on E, which is this note, that makes it minor. If you start there on the same notes with the same pattern, it becomes major and it's a G, because you're starting on it. And there's your G chord. And then you can expand like what you're doing, like with those 3 chords, like, so you've got the E there, that's E major. Well, lift that finger up, now it's E minor. Then you can use the E shape to go down to where the A was, and that's an A minor, as opposed to an A major. And then you can learn these chords. You know, and I don't know that many chords, and I don't know what a lot of the chords are called. I know shapes, and I know whether they're happy or sad, and when you're doing little things like and stuff like that. I mean, that's probably 3 or 4 different chords I've just played with different complicated names like E minor 7 this and E minor 9 that with a flat this and that. But it doesn't matter, because basically I'm using an E minor and now I've added a note there instead and took a note off there and changed it to that note, so it becomes, but it's still the same basic thing. Just use your ear and don't worry too much at first about all the jargon and technicalities apart from the technique you're doing. Don't worry too much about the knowledge you think you need to know. It's not that complicated. It's all about, music is all about listening to what you're doing and understanding how it sounds and how it makes you feel. Then you can add all the theory into it to get really in depth. Right, that's all I'd say about it.